Hi, everybody. I'm Teresa Perrin. For those of you new to the channel, welcome. I want to discuss the ticker FIGS with you. This is a medical supply company, mostly scrubs and the sort. And so a lot of people, nurses, doctors, healthcare technicians, love to shop at FIGS to get their scrubs. And that is why I am bullish on it, because as an RN myself and with a daughter in nursing school, I know that FIGS is definitely one of the trending sites for people to purchase their scrubs at, and it's very well liked in the community. So I believe that part of investing is finding stocks that you believe in and that you think are going to do very well in the future, and FIGS would be one of those. And not just that, guys, but you're not going to believe your eyes when I disclose what is going on as far as percentage of ownership wise in this company, because I'm telling you, they are loading the boat and this is going to rocket very, very soon. Let's get started. Please remember that nothing I say is financial advice. Always do your own DD. And if you could, smash that like button for me. I greatly appreciate it, as it helps out with the algorithms. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing so you get updates when I put out new videos. And guys, I do put out a free morning watch list each and every morning. It's something that you can just listen to in the background of your trading charts while you're putting them up. You don't have to sit there and watch the screen. You can listen to it. And that's part of the reason I set it up the way that I did, because I am a talker and it can go on, but I give you the reasons behind everything I'm watching. I don't just throw a name at you for no blind reason, because you should know. All right, so let's get started. I will show you the chart and the technical analysis at the end of this video, but for now I want you to know that the volume has been relatively low in this stock. So what I'm looking for is for volume to come in to bring it higher. Now technically that may happen, and I'll explain that later into next week. But for now, today we traded 2.58 million shares, and normally the average 3-month volume has been 4.29 million, so we're way below average, guys. The 52-week low is $5.55, and the 52-week high is $25.77. The current free float is 120.4 million shares. Currently, we have a strong bullish signal showing that short and medium term, we are going to be moving to the upside. Now, we are not currently showing that long term because, guys, we just came off a very long downtrend where we hit that low of 555 and have been making moves up since. So it doesn't mean that long we have a direction downward. We just have no direction because we're kind of in that land of in between where we're making higher highs and higher lows, which is what we want to continue doing. Currently, there are 12 analysts that rank this stock, and it is given a buy rating. 17% give it a strong buy, 33% give it a buy, 42% give it a hold, and that one lonely person at 8% gives it an underperform. So you can guess when you see this low of $5.50 who that comes from. That would be our lovely underperform analyst, I'm sure. The high is $12 and the average would be $8.68 for a price target. Now guys, use price targets with a grain of salt. As we see this stock move up, you'll likely see more analysts come in and review it and the price be adjusted accordingly. As far as shareholders go down, pay attention to this because it gets interesting. Institutions own 86.05% of all shares. Guys, that's huge. There is a lot of big money betting on this stock. Corporations own 3.96% and insiders own 20.36%. Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see here that clearly, if you add those up without any retail traders or anybody else in this play, what does that equal? Well, guys, it's 109% without any retail ownership in this stock. Well, how can 109% of people own this stock? Never mind however many percentage of retail actually owns it. Well, guys, it's pretty obvious to me. It is well oversold and likely the short interest is very high. So likely some of those institutions are loaning out their shares to be shorted, as well as shorts are not even required to disclose their position. My point being, I am going to go over that short interest and such in just a few minutes, but the potential in this stock for it to really rocket, let's just say this. These stats, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Redbox and what Redbox did when I was following that stock for many, many months and called it to your attention somewhere around $2 to $3 when it went all the way up to something like $17. Off the top of my head, I don't recall. That was a crazy, wild trade that had a lot of things go good with it and a lot of things go wrong with it. But at any rate, it had a similar setup to this that caught my attention, which is why I followed it for as long as I did and was very bullish on it. Well, this is the same exact reason that I am very bullish on figs. When you see something like this, it should be a red eye to your radar sensor telling you that when this stock makes a move, that move is going to most likely be very significant and very profitable to you as a retail investor. So keep an eye on figs for sure. Today, let me just go over what Market Chameleon shows us. The dark pool trades accounted for 39% of the total volume. In the past 20 days, it's only been 15%. Now, guys, the volume being as low as it is, clearly this stock is not well known to retail yet, which I'm bringing it to your attention. Maybe I shouldn't be, because it's stocks like these that are gems. When retail gets their hands on them, for some reason, institutions don't like it anymore, or they don't want anything to do with stocks that retail's heavily invested in. They like to short them, right? Well, they are shorting this stock, but personally, I think it's to get it lower so that they can accumulate more, because there's not a whole lot of retail in this name. So, something's going on here. I don't quite know what it is, but it's definitely going to be a hot stock soon, in my opinion, and I want you to have it on your radar. Now, sweep orders today accounted for 33% of the stock. If you are not familiar with what a sweep order is, it is most likely an institution trying to take an aggressive position in one direction or another. So in other words, they're going in and they're saying, I want to buy or I want to sell 10 million shares at such, 10 million shares, and they don't care. They'll sweep the board at whatever price they need to get that fill. So that's an aggressive action that's being taken, and that could have something to do on Fridays with options. However, I think figs, if I recall correctly, I think the options chain is only monthly on this one, not weekly. I'll have to double check that. So that wouldn't be necessarily the reason why, but on a Friday, you'll often see sweep orders being done because they're trying to drive it in one direction or another. But block trades accounted for 11% of all trades, and on average, it's been 13% for the past 20 days. What is a block order? It's basically just large orders that come in from institutions. Okay, so here's where things get juicy, guys. The reported, and keyword there is reported. Please use all information in Fintel, Ortex, and any other program showing you short interest with a grain of salt, because it's only as good as what's reported, and they are not required to report short interest. But they're claiming the short interest is 18.9% of the free float. Keyword, that's the reported short interest. And here's where things get really juicy. It would take 6.73 days to cover. There are currently 3,900,000 shares available to short. Oh, and just to go back for 1 second, this has 120.4 million shares in the free float. The cost to borrow is very, very cheap, 0.25%. So clearly, as you can see, there's a lot of shares available, so they don't really charge much for it. Now, the short volume ratio has been wild, guys. It's been between 41.55 and 76.38% over the past 2 weeks. And today it was 51.9%. So somebody is still shorting this very, very hard in the dark pool. Why? My guess is they're still trying to build their positions. All right. When it comes to failure to delivers, unfortunately, if you look at December, that's not really an issue right now. So I would not suspect that we're going to have anything failure to deliver wise come into play. Now, ultimately, what I would like to see happen is the shorts start to cover, which will ultimately drive this price up, guys. It has been beat down very hard over the past year. Once retail gets their eyes on this stock and realizes what I just explained to you is going on, I promise you this is going to become a hot commodity because people are going to see what I see in this and they're going to see an opportunity. At least those that are experienced traders that can understand this data. Now, hopefully through these videos, I help you to get to that level where you guys all increase your skills as far as trading goes and can find really good setups. I believe FIGS is not only a really good technical setup, which I'm going to show you in just a moment, but I believe it's also a huge short squeeze opportunity, as well as an opportunity to own a good stock that, you know, if in between something doesn't go as planned and they continue to short it harder, you don't have to worry because it's a solid company. Again, please do your own DD. You know, figure out what FIGS is, whether or not you want to invest in something like this, and also figure out whether you want to take a risk on an opportunity of a short squeeze, because I think one is going to be coming. Thank you so much for watching. Let's look into the technical analysis now. All right, so looking at FIGS chart, technically it looks very good to me. I love the RSI is above 50. Our MACD is starting to cross above the blue wave and the red is above the green. Let me bring this down to the last 10 days so that you can see this clearer. So you can see right here, if you look at the bottom of the screen, that the red line has crossed above the green. That's a bullish signal, and the fact that the green is now starting to come up and join the red in crossing above this blue wave. That's ultimately what we want to see it get above there and hold above there. We want our MACD to be, our RSI to be above 50, which it is. And now let's look at our technicals at the top of the screen. If you notice, the purple line is the 48. A couple days ago, we had the 13 moving average cross above the 48. The 20 is already above both the 13 and the 48, which is great. I want to see this 13 curl up above the 20 SMA, and all three start to curl up and move closer to above the very top red line of the screen, our 200-day moving average. Now, what makes this very bullish to me is that we closed above this red dotted line, which is our VWAP. So that is a bullish indicator. I like the way this chart looks going into next week, and I think we're going to see a continuation of a move higher. If you go back on these candles, the third one over, you see we have a lovely doji, and that seems to be where we found a bottom in this latest cycle and that we're moving off of. Now, if I go back to the 1-year chart, as you can see, we are a far cry away from our high of the year, which was $25.52. So ultimately, we need to work to get above that, but look at the lines all closer together. They're coiling very, very tightly and closely. And I think we're going to start to see a bigger move to the upside and a nice breakout coming in FIGS. So for now, my first target goal would be to break above that $8.80. If you go back about probably the beginning, end of November, beginning, probably the first day of December, maybe. That green candle there, that's the high, $8.80 that we need to get above. My next target range would be somewhere around, that's another 897, 972. So yeah, somewhere around that $10 range would be our next break that we'd be looking at, guys. So I'd have to draw out some more lines to get more detailed, but for now, let's focus on that $8.80 as that seems to be our next resistance point in figs. Anyways, that's what I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching and have a great weekend. Just to let you know, there is a space call tonight, I believe at 9 p.m. Eastern, that I am going to try to be on.